G'day, mates. How you going? Yes, sure. It has been a while, yeah, but who said I was never gonna come back? Yes, I am back, and this time I want to talk a little bit about education. Yeah, so I'm here always to educate you, to share some content on education. And this time I'm sharing, let me move you guys on this side here, and I'm sharing um, about the Commonwealth of Nations. Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of news about countries, a lot of news about these countries, yes, in the Northern Hemisphere or in Europe or in the other side of the globe. So I'm here to share a little bit about the Commonwealth of Nations and perhaps even share, yeah, a bit about vocabulary, discuss a little bit about history and some relevancy of this organization. Yeah, do you guys have any idea what the Commonwealth of Nations is? Yeah, if you do know what the Commonwealth of Nations is, you feel free to comment. If you don't know, you can comment. You don't know what that is. And of course, we will be discussing here on the way. Yeah. Well, um, do you know if you know what the Commonwealth of Nations is? Have you, does your nation, yeah, does your country belong to the Commonwealth of Nations? And what does free mean when it comes to a nation? How do you know your nation is free? How do you know your country is a free country? What does it mean to be a free country? Yeah. What does it mean for a country to be free? Because a lot of people who live in the United States, right? They say that living in the United States is great because the United States is a free country. But what does that mean exactly? What does a free nation mean? And what values does your country have? Yeah, do you know the values your country shares with its population? Yeah. What values do you have? Yeah, what kinds of values can you share with your population? Yeah, what kinds of values um, do you share with people around you as a citizen of your country? Yeah, what kinds of values are important for you in your country? Yeah, of course, it is very different from country to country. Yeah, so we'll have to explore that a little bit and understand each person's opinion because this really depends it depends on where you're from. Now, I want to explore some words here that I'm going to be sharing in the history, yeah, that we are going to discuss, just so you are prepared for what's to come. For instance, we are going to talk about governance. And what is governance? Well, in simple terms, governance is the ruling of and the decision making of a region. So the governance is the ruling, yes, the decisions and the management or the way that people handle and make decisions in a certain region or in a certain group. Now, another one that we are going to be talking about is monarchy. And what is a monarchy? Well, monarchy is the system of ruling, and another ruling is another way of managing by a member of royalty, such as a king or a queen. Yeah, we had the queen passed away, and then we had the king taking over. Yeah, and well, that's the system of the monarchy. Yeah, we'll be discussing that a little bit further on this conversation, yeah, on this discussion we are having here together. And um, another thing we will be talking about in this discussion is about adopting. Now, what is adopting? Well, in this case, it's not the adoption of children or animals. No. So in this case, adoption is, as we talk about monarchy, as we talk about governance, we will be talking about adopting a new practice, starting something new. Yeah, so I am adopting this new habit as part of my life, as part of my country, as part of my nation. And um, another one that we will be discussing here, we will be exercising here, we will discuss today about allegiance. Now, paying allegiance to uh, something or someone. And that is to, if you pay allegiance to something, is that you are honoring, yeah, you are respecting, you are showing loyalty to that country. So you're paying allegiance to that country. You are showing respect. You are showing your honor to that country. Now, I do not really know, yeah, how to write here on TikTok. So I am on TikTok and YouTube, and I'm gonna be sharing in the chat some of perhaps of these words that I'm sharing here, just so you guys see these words. You can visualize these words. Yeah. And well, my YouTube channel, if you are watching on YouTube, yeah, my YouTube is Alan Bites, just as you see my name is here. Pay allegiance. That's how we would spell it. Yeah. All right. And um, another word that I'm going to be sharing in the story here is dismantle. Now, what is to dismantle something? Yeah. Well, dismantling is taking part or coming apart something. Yeah. Well, maybe something we can do is, for example, taking something to pieces. And well, I will share some stuff here, but we could say uh, the old regime in some of these countries was dismantled. Yeah. Now, again, was taken apart, was come apart. We'll share, you understand that better in context as I come with this in the discussion. Yeah, so don't worry about it. And another one that I want to share is um, obligation. Another one that will be part of this discussion is obligation, and that is a duty. What's an obligation? An obligation is a duty to take a certain course of action. Yeah, that is being legal or moral. Yeah, that is really important. Um, I got some people breaking into. Well, um, so that is an obligation. That is a duty. Yeah, that we can take, and something that is prior, yeah, something that is prior to something that we have taken as an action is something that is a former. For instance, you could say, who is the incumbent president of your country? Who is the president who is active in your country today? But I could also say, who is or who was the former president of your country? So, former, who was the prior president of your country? Yeah, who was the prior king? Who was the prior queen when it comes to monarchy? Yeah. Now, another one is wait, I'm still sharing a few words that we can use in the discussion just so you have a better understanding. So, I always recommend, and I'm going to say this again, if you want to know, yeah, if you want to memorize these words, if these words are important for you, and you want to be discussing this with people, especially that we are in times that we are talking about countries and culture and the impact of these countries in the world, well, always get maybe a phone, yeah, maybe some notepad or even like a notebook or something. Take notes of the words that you find interesting so you use these words for future reference, especially when I return, yeah, these definitions of these words that I'm sharing here, bring these words back to, I'm writing these words on YouTube. I can't write these words on TikTok, but I am writing these words on YouTube. My channel is Alan Bites. You can find me as Alan Bites X, yeah, on YouTube. I guess that will be much easier. But yeah, well, that's the plan. I'm sharing some words here with you. So feel free to take notes of what these words are that will help you in the discussion we are going to be having later. And of course, the information I'm going to share to you about the Commonwealth of Nations. Now, another word that we will be having in the discussion here, in the history here, is irrelevant. What is something irrelevant? Something that isn't important. Yeah, something that is not important. Now, what is the core of something? Well, the core of something is the center of something. And that is, I guess, like the opposite. I could say that this is the opposite of something that is irrelevant. The core is the most important part of something. I guess in some countries, I've heard people saying something like, even in their language, whatever the language that is, yeah, people say in some countries like, what is the core of your business? What is the most important part of your business? Yeah. I could say that one of the cores, yeah, of my business is the core of my business is to make sure people communicate confidently, especially when it comes to English, to the English language. That's why I teach people and I share with people and I learn with people. Yeah, we are always together having discussions about various topics, because the more we talk about different things, the more confident you become, because you know how to discuss about things. You don't need to know everything about all things. If you know a little bit about each thing, it's interesting. Even if you don't know, it's okay to ask. But I mean, if you know a little bit, at least it's easier to join a conversation, and eventually it's going to be so much easier to be part of that discussion. Yeah. Well, let's go. Another one is um, waiting list. Now, what is a waiting list? A waiting list is an ordered list of especially people's names who are waiting for something to happen. It could be a waiting list of people or even a waiting list of countries. Yeah, like, this country's on a waiting list for something to happen to those countries. And we also have the word withdraw. Now, what is to withdraw something? Well, that depends. We have the action of withdrawing money from an ATM, from a machine, yeah, the automated teller machine. But we also have the withdraw as stop participating in something. Yeah, for instance, I am taking part in a competition, I'm participating in a competition, but then I decide to quit, to stop. I do not want to participate in that competition anymore. I use the word withdraw. Yeah, so I can say, okay, I give up, I stop, I'm withdrawing from the competition. There was recently, yeah, maybe in the Olympic Games in Tokyo, yeah, in Japan, there was this. I don't know if I can say her name here, so I'm just gonna say it. Maybe some of you will ring a bell to some of you. Some of you might remember that story. But there is this woman who was a gymnast, who had some mental issues during the Tokyo Olympic Games, and she decided to withdraw from the competition. And that's how we use the word withdraw. And we are also going to use the word to suspend something. And what is to suspend is to prevent from using something or attending something. Yeah, that is suspending. Yeah, preventing from using something. And also another word we are going to be using is voluntary and every other. Yeah, every other is each alternate. Yeah, every second. Yeah, one in a series. So every other day, for example. I go to the gym every other day. Every other day, one day I go, one day I don't go. One day I go, one day I don't go. Every other day. Yeah. That's how we use the expression every other. That's a cool one. I'm going to keep it down actually. Every other. Taking notes. Well, what is the topic? The topic is the Commonwealth of Nations. Now, the Commonwealth of Nations is a group, yeah, of 54 countries to be exact, yeah, from around the world. And most of these members are former colonies of the British Empire. Now, they have no legal obligation to each other, and they are united by their common history, language, and values. And the Commonwealth is sometimes referred, yeah, for between some people as family of nations. Now, they started to dismantle in the early 20th century, and in 1931 the Statutes of Westminster stated that the British Commonwealth of Nations was a group of free, equal nations that paid allegiance to the crown. So they were paying allegiance to the crown. They were paying respect to the crown. Yeah, remember that one. Yeah. Um, well, and in 1949, the London Declaration was adopted. So they implemented that idea. And this document included a lot of important changes. And firstly, the official name was changed to the Commonwealth of Nations, which I, from my perspective, it does have a beautiful name. What do you think? The Commonwealth of Nations. Yeah, it's some wealth. Yeah, some uh, good things that they have in common as nations. And secondly, members were no longer obliged to pay allegiance to the British monarchy. So no, they don't have this allegiance to the British monarchy. But I reckon they do have, however, yeah, like the um, a lot of the behaviors that come from, yeah, the British monarchy. The head of the Commonwealth, yeah, does not play a role in the governance of members. However, some members of the Commonwealth are constitutional monarchies. So again, uh, not all of them are, but they do follow that a little bit. Um, they do have a meeting of the members. Yeah, they have their own heads of states, and the Commonwealth heads of the state, they hold every other year in a different host nation. Yeah, they hold a meeting to discuss matters such as law, peace, security, human rights, trades, and other international issues. Every other year. Now, if you remember that, every other year they meet, meaning they meet 1 year. Yes, they meet. The other year, they do not meet. The other year, they meet. The other year, they do not meet. So every other year, they meet. And according to the founders, yeah, this network of nations was built on the shared desire for the idea is friendship, loyalty, freedom, yeah, and peace. The idea is to bring peace, to connect the nations. Um, yes, we see that's something pretty hard to maintain. Yeah, there are a lot of conflicts. Yeah, between countries, governments, uh, and people, population, nations. Yeah, each person in this world. Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Fortunately, we have different opinions, but unfortunately, they can escalate to big issues. Yeah, to a lot of problems that create big conflicts with fights and things that are I'm not sure if I can even say these things here, but well, the idea here is um, if one of the nations, yeah, the nation's government violates the Commonwealth principles, it can be suspended. Yeah. Actually, there was in 2002, Zimbabwe was suspended for holding unfair elections. So unfair elections, yeah, you are manipulating the elections. They got their suspension because they were corrupt, if I may say that. Yeah, and they can also withdraw from the association as for their choosing. Yeah, they can withdraw from the association, meaning they can get out of there if they want to. And um, they have a waiting list. Remember, I talked about the waiting list. They do have a waiting list, which is the list where they are um, uh, like waiting, perhaps, to be accepted by other countries so they could be part of it. Two countries that joined, uh, not exactly recently, but they have joined, is Mozambique and Rwanda. Yeah, they have more or less yet recently joined the Commonwealth. There are also the Commonwealth Games, which is a sporting competition between the Commonwealth members that are held every 4 years in a different host nation. It's exactly like the um, it's the Olympic Games every 4 years. Wow, now I blanked out a little bit, but I reckon it's every 2 years actually, right? Every 4 years is the World Cup, which we there will be World Cup this year. Yeah, in three countries actually: Mexico, in Canada, and the United States. Yes. Well, there's the Commonwealth Games, which is a sporting competition between the Commonwealth members. It's held every 4 years. So it happens today, 4 years, no, 3 years, no, yeah. And in the fourth year again, there will be another one. And the core sports, the most important sports, the core sports at this time of the Commonwealth Games are, um, I got a list of the sports here. These sports were swimming, yeah, diving, boxing, lawn bowling, rowing, and wrestling. And of course, since that time, long time ago, yeah, when this was created, the Commonwealth Games, other sports have been added. Yeah, there's rugby, there's squash, there's field hockey, and perhaps other sports. The Commonwealth of Nations makes up almost a third of the world's population, so it's a pretty big um, group. And uh, actually, if you think, yeah, the Commonwealth actually maintain or helps maintain an international friendship and human rights in the world, yeah, it might be true or it might not be true. And uh, but a lot of people think that has become irrelevant, and other people still think that is relevant. And I'm not saying it is, and I'm not saying it isn't. Take your own conclusions, yeah, understand, research more about the stories. I always tell people, do not limit yourselves to what you hear on the internet or to what you learn from other people. It is important to learn from other people, of course. It is important to be out there learning, but make sure you, yeah, get involved. Yeah, you understand, you research more, so you get more knowledge about that thing, and you can have more confidence to share about that topic with other people, or even have conversations with other people about it. Now, let's check together. I can get that one here. I remember the last one, the last king of the last head of the Commonwealth was King Charles III. Just so I do not say anything stupid here, I'm gonna give you this one here from a quick research. You give me a sec, and that person is, yes, it's still Majesty King Charles III as the current head of the Commonwealth. Yeah, he succeeded Queen Elizabeth II. Yes, of course, he's still there. Uh, of course, upon her, yeah, she was not there from 2022, of course. And I don't know, these things change so quickly. Yeah, and the official name, yeah, of the West African country, yeah, many may know as Gambia, or is actually the Gambia. Yeah. Well, uh, actually, that distinguishes it from the Gambia River. Yeah. Well, this is it. That is the plan. That is the idea. I'm sharing a little bit of discussion with you about the Commonwealth of Nations. I don't know if you guys remember, but uh, do you remember if the Commonwealth countries have legal obligations with each other? Actually, they don't. They don't have legal obligations with each other. It's more about friendship. It's more about bringing peace. Now, um, who is the head of the Commonwealth of Nations here? Well, the head of the Commonwealth of Nations, and I'm doing a review of our discussion here of the information that I shared with you, is King Charles III, which means is the British monarch. Yeah, it is a British monarch. Um, and how often do they hold meetings? How often do the Commonwealth nations hold meetings? Well, the Commonwealth nations hold meetings every other year. Remember that one? Every other year is one year they meet, one year they do not meet. Well, um, we are doing pretty well so far. If you have taken the notes of um, the words that I shared in the beginning, I'm pretty sure that was so much easier for you to remember. Yeah, remember the vocabulary, because again, it's easier to refer back to something you have than to than to try to figure out something that you do not have. Yeah, so always take notes of the words you have in your hands. You definitely have more power and more confidence because you have the words written down. Now, maybe a few discussions here. Yeah, why? I'm just gonna ask some questions. If you guys have access to the um, comment section, please comment the answers as I ask I make the questions here, and I'm also going to be stating some information here, about these questions that I'm going to be asking. For instance, the first question I have here is about this topic is, why was the British Empire so powerful before the 20th century? Now, why was it powerful? Yeah, why was the British Empire so powerful before the 20th century? Well, it's uh it's the Royal Navy. Yeah. There was the early industrialization and strategic island geography. Yeah, of course, because of where they are located. And well, that's pretty hard. Yeah, they do have a lot of power. They do have access. Yeah, to they say here that the British Empire, yeah, covered over 20% of the globe back then. Yeah, so come on, man. They control like over 400 million people. They had control of a lot of people. So, with a lot of people and perhaps some good strategies, some good governance, yeah, it's hard to win when you have all that power. Yeah. Well, another one is, what does independence mean for a country? What would you guys say independence means for a country? Is your country independent? And if so, if your country is independent, what do you say? How does that impact your country? How does being independent impact your country? Well, uh, basically, independence means achieving sovereignty. Yeah, sovereignty and self governance. Well, that means the country has the power to control its own territory, yeah, its own laws, and the foreign affairs, yeah, the international affairs, international trades, without external interference. Yeah, of course, um, there could be interference related to economy, the market, or the types of negotiation, but not exactly that you are following rules of other people from other nations. There are people from certain groups, yeah, countries from certain groups, that they have to listen to what the uh, the king or the queen are saying, and they have to follow the rules that the king and queen are imposing. Or perhaps a prime minister from a certain place gives some orders about something, and people in other place, they need to respect that order. Or same for a president. I've seen these things happen in history, right? Um, well, but basically, it is freedom from colonial rule or foreign domination. Yeah, that having autonomy to make political decisions. This is what it means to be independent. Do you have a different opinion, or do you have something to add? Yeah, do you have additional information that you'd like to share about what it is to have an independent, or what does independence mean for our country? If you do, please share. Yeah, I'm happy to hear more from you and to learn from you as well. Yeah, because again, this is a discussion and we can definitely learn together. Well, what role, as we spoke about monarchy, what role would you guys say the monarchy play in a nation's governance? What is the function of the monarchy in a country? Well, monarchy, especially in the modern democracies, they have shifted, yeah, from exercising executive power to serving as a symbolic and ceremonial and even stabilizing institution. Yeah, a lot of people still use the monarchy as a great example on um, how to lead their lives. And well, absolute monarchies, they still exist, yes. But I guess in the contemporary governance, it's like a constitutional monarchy where sovereign reigns but doesn't really rule. Yeah, they are more an example on um, how people should live. Of course, they have their meetings where they share their opinions. But please, if you guys have any interesting information that you could share about it, what role, yeah, what is the function of the monarchy in a nation's government? Do they have a lot of relevance nowadays? Does monarchy have a lot of relevance in today's world? Yeah, what is your opinion about it? And how do international sporting competitions help promote peace? Because I talked about the Commonwealth of Nations games, yeah, the Commonwealth Games. And how can this, or even the Olympic Games or the World Cup, promote peace? That's interesting. Uh, in the year of 2026 now, yes, we are in March 2026, and in the year of 2026 we have been facing some crazy turbulent moments, yeah, with the politics and some conflicts that I'm not sure, but there will be, yeah, World Cup this year, and by June or July, I reckon that if this conflict is not ended, they will find a way to pause it. I don't know if you guys know about this story, but many years ago, during one of the Olympic Games in the past, there was a war happening in this in that moment where the Olympic Games would take place, and uh, they paused the war. Yeah, there was truce. Yeah, they shook hands and said, "Okay, let's have a break. Let's have the games happen with people living at peace. Let's let these games end, and after the games end, we resume this battle." This was crazy. Yeah. So yes, actually, sporting competitions can definitely help promote, yeah, foster the cross-cultural understanding, because a lot of people from different nations get together, right? So if you guys, oops, if you guys, um, well, if there is international gaming, definitely this will foster cross-cultural understanding. Oops, and that will definitely build trust among countries and provide neutral ground for dialogue in countries. Will conflicting nations will talk with each other and um, yeah, put an end to all these conflicts. So sports can definitely be healthy for countries. Had some trouble here with my support. Well, another one is, do you think the Commonwealth of Nations, yeah, this idea of monarchy, yeah, will exist in the future? Yeah, do you think we'll still have the monarchy and the Commonwealth of Nations? Yeah, these groups, these unions, yes, these countries that get united to look for peace, for unity, for uh, good relationship, good friendship. Well, that's interesting. Also, when it comes to having access from country to country, I reckon. Yeah. So, yeah, as Queen Elizabeth once said, and I have this information here, Queen Elizabeth once said that as a concept that is unique in human history, the Commonwealth can only flourish if its ideas and ideals continue to be young and fresh and relevant to all generations. Yeah, so, do you agree with that? Do you agree with what Queen Elizabeth said? And what can international organizations do to involve young people and perhaps make people um, take better decisions in their lives, and smarter decisions, so in the future the education can thrive and we can become people with more people who take better decisions in our lives and avoid conflicts and solving the problems or preventing the problems from happening, especially when it comes to strong conflicts. Well, um, I reckon we are heading to the end, and for that, I gotta go. But I appreciate everybody's time here. And definitely, I know I was here more often before, I was here more often in the past. And I will do my best for sure to be here more often whenever I have some good free time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.